Hola, ¿cómo están mis tabibitos? Muchos solo son de vuelta con Genshin Impact. Sí, vamos directo a ello porque estas cosas duran bastante, demasiado tiempo para mi gusto. Y nada, a ver, ¿cómo se llama? Que de una vez cambio el nombre aquí desde mi celular en la stream porque no me acordé cómo se llamaba. Bueno, no me acuerdo cómo se llama. No, ¿cómo lo hago? Déjenle bajo el volumen aquí. Y luego acá. Y luego no puedo editarlo. Bueno, no importa. Sí. Bien, al finalizar lo edito, que no se me olvide. Sueños efímeros. Imperatrix Umbrosa acto 2, es decir, la misión legendaria de la buena Shogun. Luz purificadora. Habla con Catherine. Parece que el gremio de aventureros de Inazuma tiene un encargo relacionado con el cerezo sagrado. Y no se preocupen, grabé anterior a esto la hora de gachapón, pero no hubo buenas noticias, así que no hay spoiler de que tenga ya Emiko, ¿vale? Creo que voy en el... Hoy gasté otros eventos, voy en el deseo 51. A ver si los eventos me ayudan a llegar al 5 estrellas. Y también pues tengo que hacer los encuentros.
Recently,
Gracias.
the Adventurers Guild has received an unusual commission, and after careful consideration, we believe that
the Traveler would be the most suitable candidate, right?
Vaya, es como si Paimon ya fuera una jugadora de Genshin Impact.
As ever. I will spare the pleasantries then. May I ask if you two are available to help?
Claro que sí, por eso estamos aquí.
Well, let me go over it briefly. Our client for this job is the Yashiro Commission. Apparently, Rift Towns are attacking the roots of the sacred sakura nearby Mount
Yashiro es
Yogo
donde
in
está
great
la
numbers.
Kuyusara, ¿no?
Rift Towns? On Narukami Island?
Yes.
Es cierto que ahora
We are
yo
not
iba a
sure
dar
where
touch.
exactly these creatures come from. But this time, they are attacking in alarming numbers with great aggression and a clear target. The sacred sakura is of tremendous importance to Inazuma. I trust you are aware of this already?
Claro que sabemos, hicimos una... Oh, bueno, supondré que es para quienes no lo han jugado, que es más extraño. Algo he oído.
Good. Then you can see that this case is very urgent indeed.
Is the Tenryo Commission aware?
Yes, and they are already taking action of their own. However, given that the sacred sakura's root system is vast and complex, and faced with the unpredictability and scale of the Rift Town's attacks, they are finding it difficult to defend against them. Their main priority is to protect the civilian population, so they are actively looking to cooperate with all other available forces to eliminate the monsters. The Adventurers Guild is one of the key parties assisting the Tenryo Commission with their work. But so far, the combined efforts to combat the Rift Towns has failed to substantially ameliorate the situation.
Haré que huyan con el rabo entre las patas.
You have our deepest gratitude. Your confident response puts me far more at ease. I will mark on your map the areas where Rift Town appearances have been recently reported. I hope you won't encounter too much trouble overcoming them.
Relax. We'll be back before you can say Ad Astra Abyssos.
No la retes. Don't you dare. Ok. Pues vamos allá. Algo iba a decir. Sí, vamos con este equipo.
In danger again,
Bueno, no.
Who'd have thought? Keeping the sacred sakura safe was Kazari's greatest wish, and now these mangy mutts are trying to destroy it.
Chuchos.
Time to teach him a lesson.
Chuchos, ok. Vamos a cambiar rapidísimo el equipo. Me voy a quedar con Shao porque sí. Nada más que Namaste. Junji no. Papá. Que de hecho ya esta constelación de Ice Fish. ¡Ay, qué alegría!
In the name of the Prinzessin.
Ahí estamos.
Just standing around.
Ya, maldita sea. ¿Dónde? No he hecho esa misión porque me desagrada el niño. Es mi única razón. Ya se me olvidó. Comisión Tenryu es donde es el de Kuyusara. La comisión Yashiro es de los Ayata, ¿no? Kamisato Ayata. ¿Sí se llama así? Creo que sí. El apellido, ¿no? Ayaka. Creo que es Ayaka el apellido. La Yashiro es de los Ayaka. La Tenryu es la de la Shogun. Y creo que nada me faltaría la de los comerciantes, ¿no? Pero no me acuerdo cómo se llama esa comisión. Eso es lo malo. Y por razón por la cual a mí no me gusta ver cosas de forma espaciada. Que pasa tanto tiempo de uno a otro que a veces se me olvida cosas como que es importantes. Entonces si las veo seguidas, pues es más fácil que me acuerde de las cosas.
Worthless.
Ah, sí, ahora.
Wow, there are so many of them! No wonder the Tenryou Commission needed help. Come on, Traveler, you can take them!
Solidified.
Ah, me interrumpe.
Torn to oblivion!
Shogun? Wait, no. Could also be A.
Oh, it's you two.
Shogun
And
Raiden.
it's been a long time.
Ah,
We have
ese.
not seen each other since the resolution of the Tenryou Commission crisis.
Okay, sounds more like A. It is you, right? You sure made short work of them. That was amazing.
¿Cómo es que saliste de tu plano interior?
I'm making early preparations for what is to come. Last time we took a walk around Inazuma together, I witnessed the way the world is today. I was finally able to comprehend some things that I had never understood in the past. Since then, every time I encounter an obstacle in my thinking, I find myself having the urge to spend some time in the outside world.
Makes sense. You must get super bored being stuck in there all the time.
Might I remind you that I am not here to amuse myself. Recently, I have observed a number of changes in the external world from the plane of Euthymia. The most serious of these being the attack on the sacred Sakura by numerous rift hounds. I considered this matter worthy of my attention, so I pursued them, and they led me here, where I happened to run into you.
Pero las comisiones y los aventureros ya se están encargando de ellos.
If the Shogun rather than I were to discover them, yes, perhaps she would have left the situation alone.
Why? Because she's just a puppet?
Precisely. According to the rules I designed for her, matters of this nature are to be delegated to the Tri-Commission. But rift hounds attacking the sacred Sakura... It brings back bad memories of that terrible disaster.
A disaster?
Su
Yes.
pasado.
500 years ago, a great catastrophe befell Inazuma. Everything was engulfed in a pitch-black fog, and monsters ravaged the land. Countless lives were lost, and this homeland that the people had worked so hard to build barely escaped being obliterated entirely. The monsters committed many atrocities on Inazuman soil, and the Rift Hounds were always their advance guard. Their duty was to tear open a passage through space with their claws and teeth, and then call in even more powerful beasts.
Hace 500 años. Kaenriha.
So you've heard of it too. That's an episode of history that I am loath to recall. Maybe to you, it seems like my response to these creatures was an excessive one. But an excess of caution is not unwarranted in this case.
No sé si la escuché mal, pero creo que dijo en la última parte. Parece que mi reacción para ti no fue una excesiva. O sea, justificando que se ponga así tan triste y tan paniqueada es porque realmente fue una gran cosa y Aether también lo siente esa forma.
Guess you can't argue with that.
Since we are both here for the same reason, let us work together. From the traces they've left in the surrounding area, there should be many more monsters nearby. All of them.
Paimon feels so safe when you're in Ace Company. Having someone uber powerful on your team kinda makes you feel invincible, doesn't it?
Estos comentarios meta de Paimon empiezan a
Oh
incomodarme.
yeah. After
Henry.
This color. It's similar to the color when the sacred sakura takes damage.
Ajá, a su lado.
Let's follow it. It should be this way.
Entonces podríamos tratar la misión de Ei como dar conte, porque nos van a dar un poquito más de lore.
The damage is not too serious. The Yashiro Commission will be able to nurse the root system back to health.
This stuff that's flowing out, is it sap or something? And how come it's glowing? Huh? What's this?
Es horrible.
Baby, dead people? It wouldn't be the first time we'd seen ghosts on our journey. But why would they appear here?
Let's search the area. Perhaps we will find out.
I can't go on like this. Not when the other troops are counting on me.
What happened here? Could you tell us?
Who are you? What are you doing here? Run quick while you still can. The monsters will be back. And once you're in their sights, I'm telling you there's no escaping them. We will defend Inazuma until our dying breath.
¿Qué pasó?
You don't know? Inazuma is engulfed in darkness. Beasts and horrifying monsters are everywhere. They're merciless, ferocious, and they will devour everything in their path. Every last trace of humanity's existence, I tell you. They'll devour it all.
But look, none of that seems to be going on around here.
Ah, ¿por qué está en el pasado, Paimon?
Not right now, but they'll be back. Look, get out of here. Now! There's no time left. The almighty Shogun is gone. So is Kitsune Saigu. There is no one left to rely on but ourselves. I don't know how long we can hold out for. But if we abandon our hope, then we've got nothing left at all.
Don't worry, I'm right here.
It's the Shogun? You're back. Please, we beg you. You have to help us. You have to save Inazuma. Only the glow of your supreme lightning can dispel this terrible darkness. Please, or the whole of Inazuma will be reduced to a hunting ground for the beasts.
Koto supongo que es Sona.
Calm down. The war you speak of is over.
Over? But what do you mean?
Look around you. The grass grows green and lush, and a soft breeze blows. This is Inazuma at peace, as you will no doubt remember. There are no monsters, nor is there anything else here that could threaten your life.
What? But how? Just moments ago, they were everywhere. I saw them tear my comrade to shreds with my own eyes.
Yeah.
Hey, calm down. Everything's fine now.
Huh. I think I understand. Almighty Shogun, you saved Inazuma. Yes, we were right to place our trust in the Almighty Shogun. As long as the Shogun is with us, Inazuma will last for an eternity. Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you, thank you.
What's wrong with him?
¿Está desvaneciéndose?
He's gone.
Paimon can't even begin to understand what that was all about. But somehow, Paimon feels all sad and
¿Puso el alma a
hopeless.
descansar?
If I am not mistaken, What we just saw was a samurai's memory that was buried in the land. The sacred sakura can absorb and purify the filth in the ley lines. After the Rift Hounds attacked, some of this filth leaked out through the cracks in the trunk and formed a physical entity.
A ver, ajá, es capaz de absorber y purificar la ponzoña de los leyendas. Cada ciertas décadas, tiempos, tienen que purificarse la ponzoña del árbol sagrado, del cerezo sagrado, para evitar que lo contaminen. La misión de mundo que hicimos, si mal recuerdo. Tras el ataque de los perros, parte de esa ponzoña se filtró a través de las ranuras del árbol y creó una entidad. Ah, ok, supongo.
An entity formed with strong filth would be highly aggressive. But when purified, it presents in the form of a memory. Purified filth quickly dissipates and will be absorbed by the ley lines shortly afterwards. In other words, it cannot exist for too long.
Ya veo. Lo mismo le pasó a la pequeña Mick.
So the memories of the ones that died are all appearing at this moment?
Yes. That soldier was one of the many thousands who made the ultimate sacrifice. What he was describing just
La pequeña
now
mina era el fantasma en
was
el pueblo
precisely
ese.
the disaster that happened in Inazuma 500 years ago.
Dijo que la Shogun no estaba.
Yes. Inazuma was facing many great crises at that time. Some were local in origin, while others came from the now fallen kingdom of Kanria.
¿Nos dirá algo? No creo, no creo.
The disaster in Inazuma caused me great concern. I felt that I had to step in before it was too late, otherwise it would spread to all of Teyvat. But my friend, Kitsune Saiku, reassured me that I had nothing to worry about. She would shoulder the responsibility of protecting Inazuma and mobilize all forces at her disposal to combat the threat. I could tell that, although neither of us acknowledged it, we both knew that the road ahead would likely end in tragedy.
So, Inazuma was attacked at the same time as when the disaster happened in Kanria?
Indeed. Countless monsters suddenly appeared throughout all of Inazuma.
¿Qué?
In the end, Kitsune Saiku sacrificed her life to protect the people. I never had the chance to see her one last time. But I would like to believe that she kept her promise to me until the very last. But even then, Inazuma was left more devastated than we could have ever imagined. Those terrible tragedies left great wounds that are still felt to this day.
Será también cuando perdió a su amigo Oni, a su amiga Cuervo y no me acuerdo quién era la otra. Supondré que es la Kitsune. Esa era la pérdida de la que hablaba Yaemiko.
Yes. For the longest time, I couldn't bring myself to face the pain of that loss. All my martial might was in vain. Though I could conquer Tatarigami and vanquish monsters, I was helpless against the ravages of time, powerless to keep the ones I cherished alive. But after my clash with human ambition, I thought long and hard. Now I realize I cannot fixate on the past
Yo tengo
forever.
que aprender eso. Así que, ¿ya no estás estancada en el pasado?
When I traveled around Inazuma with you, I caught a glimpse of how the nation has progressed over the centuries. A glimpse of human potential. Everything far exceeded my expectations. Moving forward inevitably invites further loss, but also new encounters. Just think of that soldier. Despite all the losses he had experienced, he still chose to keep fighting for the sake of moving forward. All those who sacrificed themselves back then gave their lives fighting for a future. But perhaps the future they were hoping for is not the eternity that I once strove for.
Así es la humanidad.
As Inazuma's god, it is high time I honored their wishes. Warriors of the past, who spilled your blood on this land, your noble souls now rest in this earth. I will never forget you, and all that you did for Inazuma.
He's taking all this pretty hard.
Monumento.
Come on. Let's keep investigating the damage to the sacred Sakura.
Oh no, otro arco de un personaje femenino que se sobreesfuerza mucho y no toma descansos. ¡Ah! ¿Cuánto más van a hacer sufrir a las mujeres de este juego, mío yo? Sí, sí lo vi, pero no quería luchar con él.
Inazuma shines eternal.
Ahí está.
There is no escape.
Ah, sí, no, es las 5 estrellas, ¿verdad? Siempre les ponen eso.
Now you shall perish.
33,000. Supongo que si tienen la marca. Es que ya no me acuerdo qué hace. Pues tienen la marca y utilizo la definitiva. Le sabes de ello. ¿Te encuentras bien?
Why would you ask that?
Well,
¿Se te ve
usually
triste?
you pull out your sword and swish! Vaporize them all in one go! No?
You are unduly concerned. I'm simply conserving my energy. Although I have some understanding of the situation already, it could take an unexpected turn at any time. I must be prepared for anything. If there are more formidable monsters lying in wait in this area, I must make sure I have the strength to face them.
Ah, makes sense! Spoken like a seasoned shogun. The roots seem pretty badly damaged this time. We definitely need to tell the Yashiro Commission about this. Hey, the same light is leaking out again.
¿Será lo mismo que ocurrió antes? Oh, no, eres un anciano.
Furuyama?
Oh, no, y también lo
Is that you?
conoce.
Almighty Shogun, what brings you back so soon? I thought you were off fighting a battle in a distant land.
Fighting a battle in a distant land? Sounds like this guy's talking about 500 years ago, too.
Gracias por apuntar lo obvio mío yo.
Allow me to introduce Furuyama. He is a tea master and a member of my retinue. Though blind, Furuyama is unparalleled in his ability to appraise tea. He brews some of the very finest tea in all of Inazuma.
Your Excellency, you shower me with praise undeserved. I have simply had the good fortune to be in Your Excellency's presence long enough to become acquainted with all the skills that are required of me. It sounds like the Almighty Shogun has brought a guest. I'm afraid I'm unable to serve you any respectable refreshments on account of the current situation. But please, sit and rest.
Qué manera tan refinada de hablar.
After all, it's quite a mess out there.
What should we do?
Sigámosle la corriente.
Oh, yeah. Sheesh. There's monsters everywhere.
No había necesidad, solo sí, gracias.
Loads of people have been injured.
I see. So, they have fought their way this far already. Most of the residents in this neighborhood have already escaped. They wanted to take me with them, but it seemed rather pointless to me. So, I decided to stay. And now the Almighty Shogun is here, I have even less reason to run away. Imagine if this was something that even the almighty Shogun was powerless to resolve. Where could I possibly run to then?
¿Cómo es que está tan calmado?
People flee out of a desire to live on. And the desire to live on stems from a feeling of having unfinished business in life. But me, I have no such thoughts, and I have no regrets.
No tengo tales pensamientos.
The almighty Shogun often speaks to me about her dreams over tea. Just listening to her stories. I've been blind for many years, but her vivid descriptions took me on a splendid journey to all the most beautiful places in Inazuma. Over time, I've come to understand her mindset. Quite the romantic at heart, a true dreamer.
Ay.
One thing she always says is, good things don't last forever. Everything changes, fades, disappears completely over the passage of time. And so, people must make the most of the life they have, seize the chance to enjoy it while it lasts, and have no regrets in the end.
Ah, cielos. Eso no encaja para nada con el concepto de eternidad.
So you see, as bleak as things may be now, I have experienced countless wonderful things in life, and have no reason not to be satisfied.
Ay, yo no, pero ya me quiero ir.
Perhaps you are right.
It won't be long now before I have to say goodbye to the almighty Shogun for the last time. What a pity. I'll never get to see what Inazuma looks like after the almighty Shogun rebuilds it anew. But I suppose it doesn't matter. Everyone says that Inazuma has turned dark now. But to me, it went dark a long time ago. Once this catastrophe is over, life is sure to spring forth anew. But even if I survived until then, I'd probably be a hopelessly befuddled old so-and-so by then. So, never mind, eh? Oh, goodness me. Speaking of befuddled, look at me rambling away to my heart's content.
Cosas de abuelitos. Hashtag cosas de abuelitos.
The almighty Shogun comes to visit and I don't have the tea ready. A truly egregious loss of decorum. One moment, I'll just... Where in the world is the tea set? I hope the others didn't smash it to smithereens in their hasty departure.
Can't see a tea set anywhere around here.
Maldito sea, Poimon, estamos hace 500 años en el pasado.
But it's always been right by my side. Goodness gracious, what a fool I'm making of myself.
Nosotros sabemos dónde encontrar un juego de té.
I couldn't possibly have my guests fetch it themselves. That would be most discourteous indeed.
No nos invitó, nos invitamos solitos,
Don't
así
worry
que no hay
about it.
problema.
Take a rest. We'll be back right away.
Cortesía
Almighty
versus
Shogun,
cortesía.
You're not going too, are you? No, no, no. Your humble servant implores you, not with the war raging outside.
This place is complicated. It's quite unlike the tea house in your memories. Leave it to us.
But... well, okay. I never thought I'd see the day that I need the almighty Shogun to personally collect my tea set for me. I can't decide whether it's a final regret or a final stroke of good fortune.
Bueno, sí, ya, déjenos ir.
Find a tea set. Having a cup of tea isn't exactly the most urgent thing to do right now, but at the same time, this lovely old man from 500 years ago has been through so much.
De hace 500
It
años.
makes Paimon so sad.
I'm
Porque
also
al-
feeling very nostalgic for his
Al
tea.
leer, ha pasado tanto en 500 años, es como si hubiera vivido esos 500 años.
There'll definitely be a tea set we can borrow there.
Ya, ok. Miren, o sea, es que igual y soy yo. Y quiero entender que todo esto es para como que conozcamos el pasado de Ei y la gente que ella quería y demás. Pero a veces siento que lo prolongan demasiado.
It's the Traveler. And the almighty Shogun. How might I be of assistance, Your Excellency?
I wish to borrow a tea set from the Yashiro Commission.
Oh, sure. I'll fetch that for you right away. Please step into the courtyard and have a rest, almighty Shogun. Oh, and I'll inform my lord about your visit immediately. Ah, and the tea set. I'll bring that here as soon as it's ready.
Be at ease. I'm not here to see Commissioner Kamisato. Actually, I'd prefer to spend this time chatting with the Traveler. Please, fetch the tea set at your convenience.
No. I am your humble servant. I daren't think of my own convenience when the almighty Shogun graces me with her presence. I'll deal with it right away.
Pero ese es el problema de tantas etiquetas. Ella ya les dijo, esto es lo que quiero. No, es que la poderosa... cállate, te pedí algo, hazlo. ¿De verdad eres tú a la que el Furuyama solía servirte?
Right. Paimon wanted to ask that too. The almighty Shogun that he described didn't sound anything like you at all.
I seldom had the time to drink tea. Any free time I had was spent practicing martial arts.
Nice.
So, in the vast majority of cases, the one he made tea for was the former Electro Archon,
Es verdad.
who was also my sister, Raiden Makoto.
Raiden Makoto. Makoto.
He may well have had an inkling about there being two Raiden Shoguns, but he always acted as if he was completely unaware of it. The philosophy of life that he shared with us just now, that was Makoto's view on reality. She always saw things that way.
You and
Había olvidado
Makoto
eso.
had pretty different views, huh?
Indeed we did. It was the biggest difference between us. In her eyes, the most precious things in this world were dreams. The yearning for a better future held by living beings.
¿Sueños? O más bien ambiciones.
They are similar, but not identical.
A ver, pásame un diccionario para
When you came charging into the plane of Euthymia, I saw human aspirations light up the sky far above in the form of countless stars. This somewhat shook me. Now, it seems like she was right. While I took the wayward
que ella
path.
tenía la razón.
Wow. There sure was a lot going on beneath the surface.
Siempre, siempre.
Makoto saw a bigger picture than I did. In her view, a dream is more imaginary, more abstract than an ambition. An ambition is a yearning for something material or a concrete outcome. It is finite in nature and will be replaced by a new ambition in due course. Makoto was more concerned with the force that drives humans to constantly generate new ambitions in the first place. It is something innate, rooted in instinct. In other words, it is something eternal.
That's, quite a lot to take in.
To put it simply, Makoto wasn't concerned about outcomes. I didn't understand at the time. How can we say that we are maintaining eternity when things are constantly moving forward and evolving? I suppose what it comes down to is the definition of eternity she set out with.
Va más en línea con la idea que los humanos tienen de este... ¿Qué? Ah, va más en línea con la idea que los humanos tienen de este mundo.
Yes, it does. I always thought that she must have grasped some elusive, arcane wisdom to arrive at the conclusions she did. But in the last analysis, Makoto's philosophy was on the surface at least, an elegantly simple one. Notwithstanding that it was also the more prudent choice, based on a more mature, far-sighted outlook.
Do you feel you're starting to understand her better now?
You have already witnessed my previous views on eternity. But now, I no longer cling to what was lost. I suppose that means our differences have been reconciled.
Almighty Shogun, I found a tea set. This one in particular should be fit for your Excellency's use.
It's quite beautiful. Thank you.
You are too kind. A humble servant such as I does not deserve the gratitude of the Almighty Shogun.
It's all good, sir. She's actually pretty chill.
Let us return. We ought not keep Furuyama waiting too long.
McLaren. Es que estoy emocionado porque Game Grumps ya anunció que para marzo van a hacer el 10-minute Power Hour y esos son una maravilla. Esos me hacían reír bastante. ¡Yupi!
Hey, where'd he go? He wouldn't have gone looking for a tea set himself, would he?
No duran mucho tiempo. Quizás.
Or perhaps the ley lines did not have the power to sustain him for very long, as was the case with the memory we saw earlier.
So we won't get to drink his tea?
Por el amor de Dios, Paimon, es la misma maldita historia que con el niño que ya estaba muerto. ¡Ya está muerto, Paimon! No vamos a poder beber té porque no es capaz de hacer té.
We didn't even have a chance to say goodbye.
The information held in the ley lines is complex and disorderly. The fact that we were able to meet him to begin with was a miracle of fate.
No te sientas triste, Paimon. No, nunca hagan eso. Nunca hagan eso. Mal, viajero, mal. No le digas a alguien que se siente mal, que no se sienta mal. No te preocupes, Paimon. No, eso tampoco está bien. Vamos a preparar nuestro propio té.
Well, this chance won't come often, and we do have a tea set. Perhaps I should try my hand at making us a pot of tea. I've watched Furuyama brew tea on many occasions. I doubt I should have any major problems doing
Si
it
tan
myself.
solo fuera tan fácil. Ey, prepara unas tazas. Ella no puede
The
cocinar.
tea is ready. Please give it a try. So many thoughts were racing through my head as I was brewing it. I'm not sure how to explain it.
Vuelven todos los recuerdos, ¿no?
You're right. But the things we've seen today have brought back many memories for me.
Es lo que dije.
I've been reminded of many people, too. Kitsune Saigu, Makoto, and all the other friends who I watched pass even further back.
Eloni, la niña cuervo. ¿Qué pasó
Back
ahí?
at the
¿Qué
Yashiro
pasó ahí?
Commission, I kept the conversation reasonably lighthearted. But now, I'd like to broach a heavier topic, if I may. The events of 500 years ago not only robbed me of my friend, Kitsune Saigu, they also took Makoto away from me, for good.
She died in that disaster too?
Yes. She went to Konria alone, without telling me. Unlike me, Makoto was no martial artist. Whenever similar crises had arisen in the past, I was always the one to face them in her stead. But this time, the circumstances were so grave that Makoto had no choice but to leave me behind. Or perhaps it was more that she went ahead of me, put herself in front of me, so that I would remain hidden. In any case, by the time I realized what was happening...
Makoto ya había...
Yes. It was too late. I arrived only in time to hear her dying breath. She had already lapsed into unconsciousness by that point, so all I could do was enter into her mind. As far as you're concerned, it would be somewhere similar to the plane of Euthymia. It was there that we bid each other a final farewell. I cried bitterly. Even in those final moments, I couldn't understand her actions. Why did she go to Konmia first, and not I? Why did she keep me in the dark about it? Was it to shield me? It was there and then that I resolved to pursue eternity. As a testament to that decision, I saved her realm of consciousness just before it collapsed completely, and brought it back to Inazuma.
That's quite a story.
When I returned to Inazuma, I was shocked to find that a great sakura tree had appeared on Mount Yogo. The tree that you know as the sacred sakura.
¿Apareció? ¿Que el cerezo sagrado no siempre ha estado ahí?
That's exactly what everyone back then told me as well. That it had existed since time immemorial. They were so matter-of-fact about it, and couldn't at all understand what I was so surprised about. No one questioned it, and yet its presence contrasted so starkly with the area as I remembered it. It seemed as if I was the only one to have noticed it appear suddenly out of thin air. In the end, I simply had to accept that it was a miraculous effect of Makoto's consciousness. With the help of the sacred Sakura's power, I was finally able to overcome the monsters and quell the disaster in Inazuma.
This is all really hard to understand. Kinda beyond Paimon's level.
Es decir, el poder de Makoto hizo que el árbol apareciera.
Yes. She had such a great love for this land and for its people. In this respect, I still do not compare to her. I once told myself that I would never speak of these events again. Facing the fact that she is gone is
No, sí, pues
unbearably painful.
pocos pueden hablar de eso sin que les termine perjudicando mucho.
But even the tea that is most bitter to the tongue, once swallowed, leaves some sweetness in the throat. And it's time I came to terms with it all.
Parece que has pensado mucho en todo esto.
Oh, while we're on the topic, since you experienced that battle in person...
¿Has visto a mi hermana? ¿Qué? Este es un poco grosero, en mi opinión. En mi opinión. Ella está compartiéndonos su dolor, su historia y dándonos a entender que para ella esto es muy doloroso, pero que al fin lo está logrando, lo está dejando atrás. Ah, sí, oye, muy bien, tu choro. ¿Y mi hermana? O sea, y sé que yo pido demasiado, pero sí así como que o sea, no te preocupes, aquí estamos, lo has hecho muy bien. No sé, algo de afecto por el amor de Henry. Ah. ¿Has visto a mi hermana?
Sister? I had heard that you were looking for your family.
Y me molesta porque, o sea, todavía la actriz de voz de lo hizo fenomenal. Se escuchaba como que se le quebraba la garganta y casi chillo. Casi chillo.
You mean to say that she was somehow involved in the Conria disaster?
Bueno, eso responde a mi pregunta.
Based on what we've learned so far, it seems so, yeah.
Y que tal vez incluso nosotros.
I'm sorry. I wasn't there for the whole thing. By the time I arrived, the worst of the fighting was already over. And also, my mind was consumed entirely with the plight of Inazuma and the fate of those closest to me. So, I'm afraid
Iba a
I
echar
can't
un
help
mega spoiler de los 7 pecados capitales de Nanatsu no Taizai. Híjoles, que uno que me calle.
Oh, well, that's a shame. But it can't be helped, I guess. Boy, both of you have experienced
Y
great
es algo, no sé si
tragedy.
también está del todo bien o del todo mal. Pero cuando alguien está compartiendo tu dolor, no es como para que tú ahora también metas tu cuchara de dolor. ¿Me explico? O sea, si bien puedes hacerlo para ayudarla en el sentido de que darle un ejemplo o ayudarla a tener una idea extra para que ella piense si es que la ayuda. Es como, me siento triste. Sí, pues yo también me siento triste. Es como que, ok, sí, lo siento, pero no compartí mi tristeza para que ahora tú me eches encima tu tristeza. No sé, he visto muchos videos de eso, es extraño.
With this last cup of tea, let us honor the Tea Master's memory. Thank you, Destiny, for giving us the chance to meet again.
We should go. Let's keep following the traces.
Very well. Based on my investigation so far, I believe this next pack of monsters should be the last.
No lo sé, no lo sé, no lo sé, no lo sé. Vamos adelante, pues. Es que sí, creo que me confunde tanto porque es mucho dependiendo de la persona y del contexto de situación. Y también curioso porque cuando uno está en la situación es en lo que menos piensa. Pero oigan. Ay. No las necesito, pero digo, me da... Ya están ahí, ¿no? ¿Por qué no hacerlas? ¿Están adentro? Porque sí recuerdo haber visto los manchones, las garras adentro. Doko ni yo, ¿no? Me acuerdo que había aquí. Es verdad. Está por acá. ¿No? ¿No? Demasiado creativo para ser verdad. Tal vez. No es. Hubiera estado padre que, o sea, no como una habilidad pasiva o algo así, sino que por default, solo porque sí, como un pequeño easter egg. Si tienes a la Shogun puedes pasar sin problemas. No es aquí. Okay. Ya no puedo subir allá arriba, ¿verdad? Ay, ¿dónde es allá arriba? Aquí. No, sí, ya no puedo. Híjoles, no creo que se va a poder. Bueno, tuve una idea, no funcionó. Lo siento. De hecho, no sé cómo se escucha, porque hace mucho que no grabo y escucho lo que grabo de la Play. Como he estado aprovechando lo del Game Pass, está bueno, está bueno. Me duele decirlo, pero está bueno. Digo, al final me siento mucho más cómodo jugando en consola, lo cual eso se resuelve teniendo una Xbox, sinceramente. Pero damn, sí. A menos que yo realmente quiera un juego y quiera la versión completa, si es que no está en el Game Pass. El Play sí. Pues es que pasé por aquí, ¿no? Creo. Tal vez. Ay, creo. Eso estuvo raro. ¿Es para abajo o es para arriba? Ante la duda, ve para arriba. Ah, sí, es abajo. No, yo no controlo eso, Lo de la cámara enfocándose.
Once again, please leave them to me.
Hey, hey! Are you sure you're all right? You're scaring us!
Está ventilándose.
Fear not. Fighting is what I do best. Illusion shattered. Ha!
Hay una oportunidad mínima de que pierda, ¿no?
There is no escape.
Are you alright?
I'm fine. Illusion shattered. Inazuma shines eternal. There is no escape. Shine down. Now you shall perish. There is no escape.
¡Oh! Estoy paralizada en el plano de Eufemia.
Illusion shattered. Torn to oblivion.
¡Oh! ¿Cuánto daño? No te fuerces.
My apologies.
Don't worry about it. Just take a breather and get your strength back. We'll deal with the monsters.
Oh, otro recuerdo que durará como una hora.
Same light again.
Es hora de otro viaje por los recuerdos.
Where am I? Who are you? Almighty Shogun, you're here too. Are you injured, Your Excellency?
I'm quite all right. Just feeling a little stiff.
We, the Shogunate Samurai, will defend the Shogun until the very end.
Come on, men. They're coming back for more. Let's get them.
Don't. It's too dangerous.
Danger is our duty, ma'am. If we were the kinds to shy away from danger, we never would have taken up arms to begin with.
No need to worry, Almighty Shogun. When the situation looks bleak, we will draw on the power granted to us by the gods.
Is that a vision?
It certainly is. I know the gods are omnipotent, and their willingness to grant their power to humans means they have high expectations for us. If the Almighty Shogun is in trouble, now of all times is the moment for us to honor that.
So that's how samurai of that era understood visions, huh?
Llenos de esperanza, una resistencia inquebrantable.
Nobody knew where Your Excellency had gone, and we were starting to despair. But now we've found you. You're right here with us. Just the sight of you appearing before us once more has reignited the hope in our
Oh
hearts.
no, es como echarle un montón de juguito
This
de
hope
limón
is the
super
light that will
acidito a la
guide
herida.
us out from the darkness.
Everyone on me!
We'll help too!
Huh? Affirmative, but watch your backs.
Ahora sí les viene el verdadero daño. Ah, sí están peleando. Qué chistoso.
Evil conquering! Worthless! Here! Here! Worthless!
By royal
Es que sí, o sea, al final siempre lo que hace más daño es las combinaciones de equipo.
It seems like their attacks are finally over.
I've never fought so fiercely before.
Thank you all.
Are you okay? Maybe you should keep resting.
Un masajito.
I'm fine. I feel much better already.
You fought phenomenally. It was truly awe-inspiring. The monsters will definitely come back. And when they do, it'll be more than a few Rift Hounds this time. Quickly, escort Her Excellency back to Inazuma City, and regroup with the General's forces as soon as possible.
When everyone sees the almighty Shogun safely returning, their spirits will be lifted.
Well, what are you guys gonna do?
We will stay here and guard against the monsters' advance. We cannot afford to let them get any further. We are brothers in arms. As long as we stick together, we can face any number of monsters that come our way.
Los Demon Slayer. No deberíamos interferir con su realidad. Bien, muchas gracias.
Just leave it to us. Fighting is what we do best.
Ah, es lo que dijo la show.
But the almighty Shogun is the only one of us with the power to change the present state of affairs. Only Her Excellency can turn back the tide of despair and lead us onward into the future.
Ah, despair and hope.
No matter what kind of threat faces Inazuma, we will always place our
Hope
faith in the
Speak
almighty
Academy.
Shogun.
Monokuma.
Thank you all very much. I promise you that I will create a bright future for Inazuma. I should not have left it this late to make this promise. But from this moment forth, know that I shall be true to my word.
Don't worry, Your Excellency. We will never doubt your word as long as we live.
Ahora, ¿estando muertos? Uy,
With you
quién sabe.
leading us, we will claim back everything that Inazuma has lost.
Glory to the Shogun! Glory to the Shogun!
Ay, este me dio escalofríos.
They're gone.
Qué extraña pregunta. ¿Esa promesa era para ti misma?
It was both. The people's sacrifice has always caused me immense pain. But in dwelling on the tragedy, I overlooked their splendor. The grief blinded me to how brightly they shone in their final moments. The result being that in the centuries since their sacrifice, I have dishonored their will. You could take the view that whatever I say to them is meaningless, because they are but disembodied memories held in the ley lines. But even so, they are due a resolution. I owe it to them, and to all the people who have placed their faith in me to date.
Well, Paimon thinks that even if it's a few hundred years later, you're doing right by them now, and that's what counts.
Thank you for your comforting words. But this is my basic duty as Inazuma's Archon, and I have neglected it for far too long. I used to think just like that samurai. That I was first and foremost a warrior. And my only duty was to face whatever challenge came my way. But what Inazuma needs more than a warrior is someone like Makoto. Even though I am utterly unlike Makoto and can never become the person she was, I still need to do the things that she would have done.
Los humanos merecen tu confianza.
Yes, they are. They are strong and resilient and have much to be proud of. As the Raiden Shogun they revere, I should not be the one to hold them back.
Well said. Sounds to Paimon like you figured things out.
Change will come to Inazuma, and with it, new possibilities. This will take time, but eventually, the future will bring healing to the scars of the past. No matter how long it takes, I am committed to bringing this to fruition. This is my promise. Now that we've dealt with the Rift Hounds, this matter is halfway resolved. It does not appear that the threat will escalate for the time being. I will leave the Tenryo and Yashiro commissions to handle the follow-up work, such as investigating the origins of this incident and tending to the root system.
Alrighty then, let's move on. It looks calm on the outside, but Paimon bets her emotions must be all over the place right now, huh? She seems to have changed a lot since we last met her. Huh? What's wrong, eh? Come on, keep up.
¡Ey!
What's going on? Are you feeling unwell again?
¡Ey! ¿Qué tienes, eh?
My body... I can't move it. It looks like the situation is more serious than I thought.
Tenemos que llevarte de vuelta a Inazuma.
No need. She is calling me. The time has come.
¿Qué?
Can you help me walk? I need to go to the cave below.
¿Por qué estoy
the
sonriendo?
Grand Narukami's shrine.
¿Soy un masoquista? No, sado masoquista.
Why? What's in there?
¿Una cueva?
A battleground.
Oh, ahí va a estar la nueva pelea semanal.
And take the first steps into the future.
El futuro. Duro. Dirígete a la cueva de abajo. No, hombre, imagínense, vamos a caminar desde aquí hasta acá. Y no solo eso. Jardín de Sunagare. No, esa es otra cosa. Sí. De ahí hasta allá. Y no solo eso, hay que subir y después bajar. Y no. Mi compa Eder va a ser una Nezuko. Ahorita con la temporada 2 del Kimetsu no Yaiba. No spoilers. Quién sabe quién no hay problema. O sea, llevársela en los hombros. Ah, es ahí. Wow, esta cosa, me recuerdo que necesitabas un nivel de acceso 2 de los electrogranos.
The entrance should be nearby.
¿Alguien dijo entrada? Sí, esa cosa estaba ahí. Creo que sí.
Whoa! Where'd that Torii gate come from?
¿Te encuentras bien?
It's getting worse again. But it's fine. I'm happy. I'm about to put an end to it all.
Estoy feliz de ponerle un fin a todo esto.
This is a place I once sealed off with my own hands. The entrance to Raiden Makoto's realm of consciousness. It looks like she will no longer allow me to do with this body as I please.
Huh? What are you talking about? And who is she? Makoto?
Follow me.
Where are we
Esto va a doler. Sobre todo porque tengo official. Ah, diablos, debía haberme cambiado. No sé, no me pasó por la mente. Yo pensé sinceramente que iba a tener algo que ver con la marioneta.
I'm dizzy. Where did we get sucked into this?
O no, más bien ese es el cuerpo de la marioneta, pero Ei lo está controlando.
Whoa.
No es el cuerpo de Ei. Parece el plano de la eutimia.
Look over there.
Eutimia. ¿Por qué digo como si fuera en vez de eutimia?
It's another A.
¿Makoto?
We meet again, traveler.
Ah, no es la show.
This body is an assistant to the one within, but it is also the guardian of the rules.
Este cuerpo es una herramienta para quien la habita. Entonces, es que sí, ya me acordaba de eso, porque la marioneta dentro de sí misma guardaba el plano de la eutimia de Ei. Y ahí adentro estaba Ei. Pero quiero suponer que Ei, en vez de utilizar su propio cuerpo... Ay, güey, escucho truenos. Utiliza el cuerpo de la marioneta. Y ahora encerró como tal a la marioneta dentro de el plano de la eutimia.
This body shall stand in her way.
Si quien está dentro intenta desviarse de las reglas, este cuerpo se interpondrá en su camino.
Paimon knows that voice. Is that the puppet?
You have wandered the realm in my body, and you appear to have grasped the true essence of eternity. You believe your present self has greater certainty than your former self. Thus, you believe your present self is correct. Don't you? But have you really been enlightened with new ideas? Or have you been degraded by irreversible erosion? I'm here to show you my answer. We are both warriors, and the dialogue we must now have shall be conducted by the blade alone.
Wait. The atmosphere in here just took a turn for the...
Ay, perdón, es que me emociono.
The discomfort I was experiencing earlier was caused by the Shogun rejecting my continued use of her body. As she indicates, once I started entertaining the idea of change, I became hostile in her eyes. But inside a realm of consciousness, I exist independently of her. She cannot affect me in this way. Though she is a puppet, the Shogun has her own consciousness too. When necessary, she appears here to confront me.
Es un sistema de defensa para proteger la eternidad, ¿no es así? Lo mencionaste la otra ocasión. A mí me gustaría que fuera así.
The rules I set for the Shogun are... No. The Shogun herself is the manifestation of my past ideals. The very foundation stone of eternity. It shall not be easily swayed. I would not try to change her if it wasn't necessary.
Isn't there any other way? Can't you...
¡Maldita sea, Paimon! ¡Cállate y escóndete! Ei no es alguien que escape a sus problemas. ¡Ya, Paimon! ¡Déjame pelear!
Supreme majesty in which has been vested power over all the realm. It is the cohesive embodiment of all that constitutes the Raiden Shogun. It inherits Ei's pain, the pain of inevitable loss that comes as she moves forward. So too does it inherit her determination to reach eternity. Every action undertaken is for the sake of resisting erosion. Determination, courage, love, hatred. All of these will be degraded and distorted by the incessant flow of time. Only rules shall remain constant for eternity. Those were my thoughts when I created you. Now, they are towering obstacles that I have no choice but to overcome. You wish to make yourself my enemy? I am your past, the everlasting law, the guardian of eternity. And I am she who promised a dream to her subjects. Raiden A.
Esto me emociona.
In the end, even the proud and mighty Oni maiden was cut down and disgraced.
Ah, te lo habéis poderoso Oni, no la
The blade
menciones.
has been cleansed of her blood and filth. Never shall it shine as brightly as it once
Es un
did.
escudo como el del chamaco Tartaglia.
There is no escape. Go!
¡Oh! Música perrona.
Inazuma shines eternal. The eye sweeps the lands.
Ah, ataca sin parar alfabético. Ah.
Absurd. Now you shall perish. This ends now. The Kitsune Sakura blossoms that once filled the skies fell to the ground as pitch black rain. As long as the ley lines flow, the relentless erosion of time will never stop.
She's completely recovered?
Thunder. Illusion shattered. Inazuma shines eternal. Weak. Absurd. Illusions are but distractions.
Oh. What?
Shattered. There is no escape. Insolent. The divine lightning that envelops all of Inazuma will fade silently into the clouds. There shall never be another. Never. For the rest of time.
Otra vez.
Transcendent. Erase all threats. Torn to oblivion. Inferior.
Ow.
I shall not fall here.
¡Ay, se cura ella también!
Inazuma shines eternal. Only emptiness.
¡Ah, eso estuvo
awaits.
genial!
Have you finally defeated her?
¡Ah, estoy muy feliz! I'm so happy. Necesito buscar
It
esa
appears
canción.
your martial prowess has not dulled. But how long can your will remain strong?
How the heck?
¿Seguro que la marioneta de la Shogun no es invencible?
In this realm of consciousness, her existence is tenacious indeed. She was built to resist erosion. Her will is stronger than any other living being's, including you and me.
Then, does that mean this is gonna be a never-ending battle?
Ya, es que la estoy buscando en mi celular.
But I have to prove to her that my present will is no product of erosion. The future I shall forge will be a grand undertaking, one that will be resistant to erosion. If I don't do this, the Shogun's rules can never change, and Inazuma can never move forward.
Déjalos pelear a tu lado.
This is my duty. No matter how long this battle may last, months, years, centuries, and no matter how many times we must fight, I will defeat her.
Mientras tanto, ¿qué pasará con Inazuma?
500 years ago, humanity proved their strength in battle. Here in the present, they rely on their ambition to challenge wayward practices, tear them out like the diseased wood of an old sakura tree, so that new, healthy branches might spring to life in their place. It is about time that I learn to trust them.
Pero, ¿puedes dejar que la humanidad continúe sola? Todos buscan esperanza en la Shogun.
I understand that. But if the dreams of which Makoto spoke are true eternity, a short moment for which the Shogun does not exist is nothing to fear. I fight for the everlasting future of Inazuma. However long the battle may last, it is but a drop in the ocean of eternity. I vow to the subjects of Inazuma that I shall one day return. This is my oath. Please, be my witness. During my absence, I place everything in Miko's hands.
But this means that...
Pass on my words.
¡Ey! O tal vez hubiera sido... ¡Ay! No, eso hubiera sido demasiado. No me gusta eso. No me gusta eso. Estuvo muy genial. Todo muy padre. Todo excelente. ¿Saben qué esperaba? Que saliera la marioneta, esta cosa que vimos en el avance con las manotas acá tipo Susano.
Looks like we got kicked out. Oh, what do we do? Are we really just gonna leave A and the Shogun to keep on duking it out in there forever? She was making sense, and maybe this is the only way to change the Shogun's rules, but still.
Ella no tiene un cuerpo, ahora depende de la Shogun. Esta no puede ser la única manera.
Right? Also, A can be pretty stubborn at times, and has a history of rushing into difficult situations.
Y ya tiene historial de meterse en situaciones muy difíciles.
What if she gets too obsessed with winning, and she forgets why she's there in the first place? It could happen, and then she might never leave again.
No hemos terminado nuestro trabajo.
Yeah, we should help her out, like we did last time. The quicker she gets through this, the better. Is there any way we can cut down how long she needs to spend in there? Or, you know, help her win the fight? Well, whatever. We can't let anything bad happen to A while she's in there. Oh, but we also can't get in there anymore. Okay, well, first things first. We gotta find a way back in. Oh, come on, brain juice. Don't feel time on now.
Jugo de
Okay,
cerebro.
maybe if we both ran into it at the same time really, really hard.
Tenemos que hablar con Jay Miko.
Oh, you're right. Paimon nearly forgot about her. Who knows if she really understands these consciousness realm playing thingies more than we do.
Ella aquí inicia su misión legendaria.
All right, up the mountain we go.
Que también quiero... Si esto acaba aquí... Veo que no. Mañana inmediatamente haré la de Jay Miko. Porque si quiero desbloquear lo más pronto posible la pelea semanal con la marioneta Shogun. Y farmear desde primera semana que están sus materiales.
Let me guess. You're all tangled up in another situation and need me to unravel it for you. I hope you realize how lucky you are. If it was anyone else, I don't think I'd have the patience to keep greeting them with a smile after the first few times.
Después de las primeras veces.
You're always smiling.
That was a figure of speech, do you understand? Nitpicking my turns of phrase. The sheer audacity.
No sabría cómo traducir correctamente lo que dijo el inglés. Nitpicking es como... No me sé la traducción, pero yo sé dentro de mí que es como que andar juzgando muy detalladamente mis formas de hablar. Qué audacia la tuya. Paimon, ve al grano.
Oh, yeah. Something really big's happened. It's A. She...
Le cuentas a Jamiko lo que ha pasado.
Oh, okay, I see. So, A's decided to palm Inazuma off on the humans, while she goes off on her own to fight a fierce battle that doesn't even have an end date. Impossibly stubborn. Jumps straight to the most extreme course of action imaginable. Presumes her sheer will can see her through, despite a near impossible goal that requires nothing short of the very peak of her abilities. Yes, that sounds like A all right. You know as well as I do that she's always been like this. Why start fretting about it now?
Esta batalla es más seria que cualquier cosa ocurrida hasta ahora.
Rushed into it without thinking. Well put. Oh, she acts like such a child sometimes.
No dije eso. Elegí el diálogo incorrecto.
So
Fuck.
you seem to be under the impression that I am able to offer some sort of help? Who gave you that idea?
No me regañes.
Is she playing dumb? She's doing this on purpose, for sure.
Uh-huh. You're learning, little one. But really, the truth of the matter is that I don't know much more about Raiden Makoto's realm of consciousness than you do. All I know is that it's the foundation of the sacred Sakura, and from what I've heard, it's a little different from A's plane of euthymia.
Because Raiden Makoto is no longer alive?
Not just because of that. The nature of the space itself is different in some way. But I can only speculate. You're the ones who have actually been there, so
O sea,
you tell
sí,
me.
yo sí vi, pero
What
no
was it
pendejo.
like?
No noté ninguna diferencia.
Anyway, we needn't worry about the details too much. It'll just be a little difficult to explain things later on, that's all. First things first. Follow me to the entrance.
Arriba, abajo, izquierda, derecha. Tengo que regresar a donde estaba ya. Ay, 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 ay. Uno pensaría que ya Miko ya tendría, perdón, tendría la capacidad de... La magia de esa cosa del plano de la eufemia.
Now then, I always have my ways. It's just a question of how crafty I need to be.
Los zorros son
To the
astutos.
outsider, the realm of consciousness is a very abstract concept. Luckily, I'm A's familiar,
Justo lo
so
que
I can
estaba
sense
diciendo.
her rough whereabouts. In other words, even though I can't pinpoint the exact spatial location of this realm, I can still send you to where A is.
So, it's abstract, but has a location, but you don't know where it is, but you can still send us there. What?
Sí,
Yes, no
bien
need to
resumido.
try and understand it. Let me put this simply. Right now, she is surrounded by chaos. Everything is turbulent and disordered. If you try to force your way in, you could be swept away by a giant wave that sets you down in an unknown corner of space-time. This is precisely why when entering the plane of euthymia, it's much safer if you place your consciousness in a physical object first.
What? Alright, well, I might stay here then. You two can go in.
Ni lo sueñes.
Suit yourself. Worst case scenario, all we stand to lose is A. So what's the big deal?
Paimon had it up to here with both of you! Oh, fine. Paimon's coming too.
Oh, well, if you're quite sure, then of course. Now, I shall send you on your way. I say.
¿Qué pasa?
Oh, nothing. It just seems extraordinarily chaotic, that's all. My suspicions have been confirmed. By the way, remember to focus constantly on your heartfelt wishes when you enter inside. Only a strong enough will can prevent you from being swallowed by the giant waves of abstract space. Only if you are strong enough can I deliver you to the right destination.
Entendido.
Well then, the door's open. Hop on in. I'll stay outside and provide what stability I can. I'll be ready to respond if anything happens. I'm placing my god in your capable hands. For my sake and for Inazuma's, please, bring her back.
Nico, you better know what you're doing.
No le fallaremos.
That's enough chatter. Get to work.
Es que Paimon, ya, cacheteala, por favor. Que es más, de todos modos nos va a traicionar al final. Quiera o no. El plano de la cena. Oh, escena bonita. Nunca hemos recibido una escena así para una legendaria, ¿o sí? Tus deseos, muchacho, tus deseos.
Remember to focus constantly on your heartfelt wishes when you enter inside. Only if you are strong enough can I deliver you to the right destination.
Damn. Oli. O sea que constantemente lucha con la ulti activada.
How can this be? You have returned. But how were you able to get back in? And how come you have not changed at all in all these years?
¿En estos años? ¿Qué?
This is a duel to remember. It is as if we have returned to the moment when the laws of eternity were first established. Your will today is as strong as it was back then. Over countless battles, not once have you lost, and never have you shown the slightest hesitation. Had I made all enemies of eternity stand against you, you still would not have wavered. For your firm commitment to enforcing the rules, you have my admiration too. You bring honor to the title of Guardian of Eternity. Now these two return once more to this space. An inevitability of fate, perhaps. Then, let this be our final duel. The conclusion to that which began 500 years ago.
Ah, no, espera.
Final
Sí, yo la
duel?
malinterpreté.
So you're finally willing to stand back, traveler.
¿Vas a ponerle fin a todo esto?
I'm going to be the start of something new. The time our duels took to fight was long enough to witness the rise and fall of nations.
Ah, oh, ok. Ahí está lo que pedí.
The energy they consumed, great enough to vaporize the oceans and turn day into night. And the will they demanded, sufficient to penetrate minds and crush
Ay, sí, perdón.
brains. Yet, you have endured. I will endure forever. Witness, shine down the final calamity.
¡Oh, el Sasunoito! ¿Cómo sea que se llame?
Illusion shattered. Perish.
Oh, fuck.
Shine down. Eternity is in my hands!
Oh, cielos. No, entonces hizo un tiempo de receso. Ya perdí una vez. ¡Uy! Pero ahí está. Damn!
This is the end. You have won. I believed you were incapable of transcending the past. But it seems my belief was baseless, and I underestimated your spirit. But a will that cannot be eroded has no way to embrace the future. You need not worry about the future, and you aren't alone. I know your power more than anyone else. Had I relied upon my strength alone, I would have lost this duel for sure. Yet, my reason for fighting redefined my martial prowess and redrew my limits. I now carry the gaze of the myriad of expectant eyes that look to the light in the heavens. And whenever I think of this, I feel something stirring within Muso Ishin.
Muso Ishinotati. ¿Ito? ¿Cómo se llama?
The blade that I inherited from Makoto seems to be trying to guide me, to encourage me. I noticed it also. Just now in the heat of battle, it seemed to unleash a new and unfamiliar power. This power is beyond the limits of my understanding. This blade belonged to Makoto. Perhaps it can only respond to me with its full power when I truly understand and believe in her. When I clasped Muso Ishin in my hands, I had the feeling that she was by my side once again. It was at once a familiar feeling and a strange one. Makoto barely wielded a blade in her life, and yet her blade brings me closer to her. You have my approval. Your present will is not the product of erosion. I shall no longer stop you from attempting to modify the rules. From this day forth, this body will remain your assistant. I won't design any more rules that can never be changed. You used to represent my past, but from today onward, you are me. Makoto never saw me as a fearless weapon. Likewise, I should not regard you as a mere tool. You truly have changed. I suppose this is what humans call growth. I understand. I shall become your shadow, just as you were once Makoto's shadow. The duties I perform will not change. But as a warrior, I look forward to the chance to fight like this again in the future.
Claro.
Do you say this because you have not yet reconciled yourself with your defeat? It was simply a new experience for me. One that is worth reliving.
Have you finished fighting then? Like, for real this time?
Mente onírica está brillando.
Hello, A. And greetings, those who have come to bear witness. I am Raiden Makoto, the previous Electro Archon, who failed in my duties and left you all to pick up the pieces.
Makoto?
I'm so happy. You've come so far. I always knew you would make it here in the end.
I left a faint fragment of my will in Muso Ishin, so that in the moment that you unleashed its full power, I too would be released.
Dejé un pequeño fragmento de mi voluntad mentónica para que se activara en el momento en el que liberaras el verdadero poder de la espada y también se liberara mi conciencia.
A convoluted way to reach you, but... well, you held such deeply entrenched views at the time that you wouldn't have listened to a word I said. There was no time to wait for you to have a change of heart. Please forgive me. All I could do was find some way to wait until you came to me. But... you never mentioned this to me. Everything happened so suddenly. I'm sorry. I've always felt terrible for having to entrust Inazuma to you all of a sudden. I should have been the one to impart these ideas to you, a little at a time, to dissuade you from your pursuit of stillness. Did you know what was about to happen in Conria? I had some sense of it. That place was not somewhere that any Archon could afford to ignore. In my present form, I can no longer perceive time. I don't know how long we have been separated before this reunion, and I don't know what Inazuma has experienced in the meantime.
Bueno, 500 años.
But I know that this must have been an extremely arduous journey for you. And I'm sure you must have wanted to shed tears many times along the way. Don't look down on me. See? You admit it. It was with this possibility in mind that I left a parting gift for you. Something to soothe Inazuma's pain. Here, take it, before my last shred of consciousness fades away. But it is you who must take the most important step.
The light turned into a seed?
The miracle tree that blesses the people, in this moment new to the world and yet to be known. When to plant it, where it shall bloom. She who brings it into being must let her heart and dreams decide. Grant it life, eh? Is it really? Eternity extends time into infinity. Dreams illuminate each moment within. When both shine in unison, the sacred Sakura blooms from the darkness, finally free from the clutches of the heavenly principles. Now the nightmare has dissipated, and reality is made whole. The vision we both yearn for is still further ahead. My only regret is that I cannot witness Inazuma's future, nor can I walk this journey with you. Do you know, I am so happy right now, because my final wish has now come true. Your polearm once protected me from countless calamities. For this, I've always felt indebted to you. Though I could never repay you in full, this sacred Sakura will buy you some time until you are ready to awaken and embrace the new. What do you think? Did it do the trick? This time, it really is goodbye, eh?
Oh, sí, el escalofrío.
Goodbye, Makoto.
Uf, Si ahora de en adelante es una regla estándar poner eso, al menos una escena chida en las misiones de personaje, no estoy nada en contra. Y creo que esta es la segunda, porque no me acuerdo. No, porque... No, sí, no es la primera vez. Duvalin fue de Arconte, Storm Terror. El Rey Lobo fue por la misión legendaria de Razor. Azdaja fue por la misión legendaria de Shongli, la segunda.
So the A of the present planted the sacred Sakura in the realm of consciousness, and it took root in the Inazuma of the past. No matter what you make of it, it's quite incredible.
Oh, vaya.
All of this is thanks to Makoto's power. Her understanding of eternity is much more profound than mine.
Ah, y es por eso que Ei notó que de la nada vio un árbol cuando para todos el árbol siempre estuvo ahí. Pero eso no está muy jalado. Porque si bien no solo el pasado afecta al futuro, el futuro también puede afectar el pasado. Oh, eso es demasiado complejo. Se están metiendo en un pedo muy grande. Pero ok, dejémoslo así.
Eternity is a concept intimately connected with time. When you begin to touch on eternity, the concept of time becomes murky.
En ese lugar ocurrían cosas increíbles. El tiempo avanzaba y retrocedía al mismo tiempo.
A place where time is meaningless and cannot be understood with ordinary logic. So that was the turbulence I was sensing. Perhaps that is the reason why you were able to return precisely to this point in time without any problems. And yet, that sense of disorderliness has now completely disappeared.
I don't fully understand yet. But my intuition tells me that the reason for everything, it's that seed.
Well, I'm not convinced that it was Makoto's power alone.
I know what you mean. Perhaps Makoto got a higher power involved in all of this. But whatever the explanation, her solution is what saved us all.
Astaroth. ¿Qué es eso? ¿Un poder superior, Astaroth?
Without the sacred Sakura, Inazuma would likely have been completely swallowed up centuries ago by that disaster and the filth.
I know you've always perceived there was something special about the sacred Sakura, but to me, it has always been there. You've tried in the past to prove to me that there's a connection between the sacred Sakura and Makoto's consciousness. But unfortunately, you never did persuade me, did you?
No. But I understand why now. It was because the sacred Sakura hadn't even been planted then.
But don't you think that tree looked a lot different than how it does now?
The sacred Sakura is within my purview at the shrine, so obviously I get to prune it exactly how I like it.
Ugh. Now we see who's pulling the strings.
I'm joking. That tree has been through a lot since it first sprouted. We have the loving care of Kitsune over the ages to thank for how it appears today. And obviously I played my part too. It's fair to say that very little time passed between the moment you came out of that realm and the moment you re-entered it. But in that same time, centuries of battling took place on the inside, did it not? Traveler, if I'm guessing correctly, you were repeating your wishes to yourself in your mind, weren't you?
Por supuesto.
At that time, I could sense A's whereabouts, but I also sensed anomalies in the flow of time within that space. Suffice to say, time added a whole new dimension to our search. Simply establishing a location was not sufficient. Fortunately, your will was strong enough that the turbulence carried you to the moment in time most likely to be the intersection of all that you were wishing for. The flow of turbulence may well have been influenced by Makoto, but it took everyone's efforts combined to ultimately help A. So this time, it looks like thanks are due to you.
Does that mean it wasn't by chance that we ended up at the final duel? We were always meant to be there to witness what was going to happen?
Quizás eso quiere decir la Shogun con cosa del destino.
I thought that the flow of time was the same on the inside and the outside. So it was a great shock to me when the traveler reappeared. My first thought was, has a great disaster befallen Inazuma? But it turned out you had come to rescue me. You came for my sake, to help me reach the best possible outcome. You too have my thanks. You have done much for me, and I will never forget it.
Hey, how are you feeling now?
My body has fully recovered, and the Shogun's will no longer fights against me.
Always thrilled to hear you're in good health. But I was really asking about your emotions. Have you managed to calm down? After all, you saw Makoto in there, didn't you?
I only heard her voice. I wouldn't say I saw her. I'll be fine. It brought a few things back, of course, but I've made my decision to move forward. I have to say, this has reminded me once again just how brilliant Makoto was. She predicted all the ways in which Inazuma's future could unfold, all the way back then. She even factored my immaturity into her plan. It's all thanks to her that Inazuma lived to see this day.
Ey. No, espera, es suena como... Ey. Tú también has tenido un papel muy importante en todo esto.
I just planted a seed.
Tanto tu determinación como la suya fueron indispensables.
Yeah, it was thanks to everything you did that you got to see her again. That's amazing.
Puede que este último paso haya sido fácil, pero requirió el esfuerzo de todos. La causa y el efecto se invirtieron, pero tu papel fue importante.
Thank you.
Today, at long last, you and Inazuma finally emerge from the shadows cast by the events of centuries past. Makoto and you are Inazuma's past and future, and both are indispensable.
It's rare to hear such comforting words from you. I graciously accept them.
Oh, come on. You only think it's rare because you never used to listen to a word I say.
Makoto said the exact same thing.
Great minds think alike, hmm? I wonder, does that qualify me to maybe take the position of Shogun for a couple of days?
Su cara.
Actually, no. Forget that. Far more trouble than it's worth.
We will have to end the frivolities there. There is much work to be done. The Shogun and I will closely review the Inazuma of today to find out where things currently stand. Then, we will give careful consideration to the future. After that, I will abolish the Sakoku decree.
Really? That's huge news!
I am no longer pursuing an eternity defined by stasis. In which case, there is no further need to keep the nation under lock and key. I don't doubt that many challenges lie ahead for Inazuma.
Pero de los desafíos también nacen nuevas oportunidades.
I'm looking forward to it.
¡Oh, Dios santo! ¡Oh! Sueños efímeros. ¡Ah! Mi espalda. Flor de cerezo onírica. Ok, ahorita leo bien qué es. ¿Algo más que recibir? Bien. Mora, ¿eh?
Many challenges still lie ahead for Inazuma. But I am
Oh,
prepared
entonces
for them.
esta es la despedida de Inazuma. Ya tiene que venir Sumeru. Para quienes no estuvieron todo el tiempo en Genshin Impact o apenas están jugando bien, esto para mí es un patrón. Y si tampoco han visto los videos, cuando terminas la historia, es que entonces, ¿por qué la ponen como legendaria? Esta misión fue tipo Arconte. A mí no me engaña. Ay, cómo los odio. Cómo detesto que no sigan su modus operandi. Bueno, igual son cosas que como Five Nights at Freddy's al principio haces cosas porque crees que van bien, pero ya después de que lo haces varias veces te das una mejor idea de qué es lo que quieres hacer realmente. Ok, no importa. El punto es, cuando terminas la misión Darkonte con Venti tras liberar a Stone Terror de la magia de los magos del abismo, puedes hablar con Venti una vez más porque te dice ahora tienes que ir a Liyue donde te espera el siguiente Arconte, y precisamente hablas con él y te pone un menú con haciéndole preguntas sobre lo que viene. Lo mismo pasó con Liyue. Cuando terminas de defender a Liyue de la amenaza, ¿cómo se llama? El monstruo marino al cual le tiraron de pedradas con la cámara Jade. Terminas hablando con él, terminas peleándote con Tartaglia, y después de eso de Tartaglia hablas con Zhongli, precisamente porque dice ahora tu aventura te llevará a tu siguiente destino, Inazuma. Justo, hablas con él, mismas preguntas. Y de hecho, cuando se supone que se había acabado, entre comillas, el arco de Inazuma, no habíamos tenido esta oportunidad. Porque si no mal recuerdo, cuando terminas lo de la Shogun es con la señora. Sales de la señora, llega Kazuha, te metes al plano, no al plano onírico, al reino de la Eufimia, al plano de la Eufimia, peleas con la Shogun y como que ahí se queda el asunto, ella se queda pensando en sus cosas y tú te regresas y bla 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 bla. Y después fue lo de andar de cita con A para ver para ayudarle a entender su nueva perspectiva. Pero al fin tenemos, sí, me tardé todo eso para decir esto. Al fin tenemos, ya es la conclusión. Para mí esto significa eso, la conclusión de Inazuma. Lo que sea que venga a continuación van a ser historias relacionadas a eventos en Liyue Monster de Inazuma, pero ya la de Arconte va a ser ¿cómo se llama? Aizumeru. Ya tiene que ser. En fin, ¿qué desafíos prevés para Inazuma?
Abolishing the Sakoku decree has a myriad of implications. It would be folly to say that it will be all positive, and there will be no negative repercussions. For example, I can foresee the outside world posing a threat to Inazuma's businesses. These are the issues that I must work to solve.
Hey, you're thinking about this all so conscientiously. I've only got as far as wondering whether I'll be able to sell entrance tickets to the Grand Narukami Shrine in the future.
Honestly, Miko, many challenges still lie ahead for Inazuma.
Así está mejor.
But I am prepared for them.
Sobre la mirada de los dioses.
Makoto's gaze was always fixed on the people of Inazuma. I always assumed it was because that was her duty. But now, I see that hers was a gaze full of delight and hope. It was not just a duty, but a joy too.
If the people of the past deserve the god's attention, then so do the people of the future.
Indeed.
No dijo del presente.
No longer will I ignore their passions and dreams.
Entonces podríamos decir, no podríamos decir, porque fue hace 500 años. Es que, o sea, siempre está esta duda de quién cuernos le dio a quién la visión y por qué le dio la visión. Digamos, ¿por qué Goru recibió la visión del arconte de Zhongli? ¿Nada más? ¿No? O por qué en este caso, por eso dije entonces Makoto fue quien entregó visiones. ¿Por qué él le entregó una visión a Fischl, a Razor, a Lisa? O sea, ¿por qué? Pero bueno.
Many challenges still lie ahead for Inazuma, but I am prepared for them.
¿Cómo fue el duelo que duró siglos?
To put it bluntly, it was constant torture, with no end in sight.
Fue constante tortura.
Faced with an endless battle, I had to remain focused at all times. Had my concentration lapsed for but a moment, the Shogun's blade would have taken my life. Safe to say, were it not for my previous experiences in combat, my skills would not have been up to the challenge. And through it all, you also had your part to play. Many challenges still lie ahead for Inazuma, but I am prepared for them.
¿Qué hay de los daños causados al cerezo sagrado?
Don't worry, I haven't forgotten. I will be sure to remind the Tenryou and Yashiro commissions of their duties in this regard. It's not only the monsters that I am worried about. I'm concerned about what else might escape from the sacred Sakura.
That's a tough one, all right. There's plenty more besides memories held in the ley lines.
Since you clearly understand, perhaps you could think about making an effort too. Many challenges still lie ahead for Inazuma, but I am prepared for them.
Oh, por cierto, Yaemiko dijo que me confiaba su dio.
Yaemiko said nothing of the sort, and the traveler has some nerve making up spurious claims about her while she is still present. Some words are not to be passed on. Trust me, you don't want to know the cost of betraying me. Just think of the things I said to you as our little secret. Understood.
What are you talking about?
Nothing. Ooh, I suddenly want some fried tofu.
Many challenges still lie ahead for Inazuma,
Momento
but
lindo.
I am prepared for them.
No tengo más preguntas. Fuck, ya viene Sumeru. Ah, ya se ven los personajes dentro. Ah, todo va a colapsar. Todo el maldito sistema de hasta ahora se va a romper gracias a la nueva edición del séptimo elemento. Pues bueno, ya me voy. ¿Por qué tiene la palabra E y no? Es que quiero que miren enfrente para despedir este stream. ¿Qué es esto? Bueno, entonces no urge hacer Yaemiko. Pero por mi seguridad haré primero la de Yaemiko para poder hacer los encuentros después. Porque aun si no crea que tenga algo que ver, yo creo que sí, ¿cómo se dice? Sí se interpondrá la misión de Yae con alguno de los encuentros. Mínimo con el de Koru. Sí, nada más para despedir el video.
There's still a long road ahead.
Ya no lo usé porque la neta preferí hacerlo más rápido sobre. No, me hace enfrente. Eso, nice. Pues bueno, ya lo hemos pasado. No sé cuánto duró esto, pero sí sentí que duró bastante. 2 horas tal vez. Porque sí recuerdo haber visto en el reloj las 4. Sigo. Bueno, o sea, eso ya era más queja mía. De que es una misión de Arconte y no tanto una misión legendaria. Porque pues lo mismo lo repito. Cuando Zhongli tuvo esta escena donde le hacemos preguntas sobre qué va a pasar después. De hecho, a ambos creo que les pregunta sobre qué en Ria, pero a ella no, porque supongo que ella tuvo esa escena. Fue una misión de Arconte. La misión de Honara de Zhongli, la primera fue descubrir lo que pasó en las minas de sal con la diosa que protegí, que tuvo un conflicto por ahí. Y la segunda fue sobre Azaha, su viejo amigo, y sobre la erosión, básicamente, del paso del tiempo, cómo hace que olvidemos cosas. Y con Venti, ¿no hay misión de Venti ahora que lo pienso? No, sí había una misión de Venti. Ahora, ya no me acuerdo. Misiones legendarias. No, es aquí. No, completado, ya vi. Uf, ni me digan, porque no he checado nada de esto. Sí había una de Venti sobre güey que se... Ay, ¿cómo se dice? Se adjudica las victorias de su antiguo compañero que murió en una de las zonas más peligrosas de aventureros y que Venti le ayudó. Sí me acuerdo. Levemente, pero me acuerdo. Pero el punto es que lo de Venti no llevaba casi ningún lado. Era como que muy secundaria la situación. Opiniones al respecto. Si alguien puede, por favor, si es que alguna vez lo ven, en los comentarios ponerme realmente hubo otra misión legendaria, con el título legendaria, que haya tenido una escena cinemática, o sea, CGI bien animada, pues, porque según yo no lo recuerdo, o igual y sí, no estoy seguro, pero alguien, por favor, con que me digan sí es suficiente, no me busquen, sí, tal misión, no, con que me digan sí hubo, va, con eso estoy satisfecho. Bien, hubo un comentario que se me fue, que quería decir al respecto. Tenía que ver con la cuestión de cómo maneja el espacio-tiempo este juego. Se me hace muy interesante. O sea, entraron a un tema muy complicado, pero lo dejaron muy simple, lo que me gustó bastante. Pero en pocas palabras, Makoto, como un préstamo, hizo un préstamo en el espacio y tiempo, en el de que todavía no va a ser plantada la semilla, pero necesito que ese árbol nazca para proteger a Inazuma. Y en algún momento se va a plantar. Pero no seré yo quien pague esa deuda, sino será alguien más. Yo quiero resumir todo eso como de esa forma. Porque sí, es muy difícil encontrarle lógica o explicar de una forma concreta y satisfactoria cómo fue que eso fue posible. Pero bueno, estuvo padre. Me gustó mucho la experiencia. Me hubiera gustado resumir más el inicio de la aventura. Porque si bien entiendo que teníamos que ver cómo le dolía a Ei, ver cómo se sacrificaban por ella, sus ciudadanos, cuando ella no estuvo, y la pérdida de su hermana, sí sentí que duró un poquito de más. Y si bien algo que me he dado cuenta de andar viendo Danganronpa de nuevo, el anime, es que en el juego sí recuerdo cómo repetían cosas que ya eran como un tanto lógicas o que ya se habían dicho una y otra vez, porque tratan de hacerlo muy fácil de entender, pero eso lo hace a veces un poquito molesto para mí. Pero bueno, es un juego para todos al final del día. El hecho de que yo me trague todas esas escenas porque lo estoy grabando y quiero que esté con las voces bien cinemáticas y demás, ¿no? Pero bueno, muy buena experiencia. Me gustó muchísimo la canción, tanto de pelear con Shogun como pelear con la versión chida. Estuvo genial. La boss fight está aquí, ¿verdad? Sí, ella lo mostré. Yo lo voy a hacer ahorita por mi cuenta. ¿Tengo resina? No. Bueno, va a tener que ser mañana, porque va a costar 60 lo más seguro. Y ya. Sí, muchas gracias por haberme acompañado. Nos vemos en el siguiente episodio de Genshin Impact, vivitos. ¿Cuándo será? No les prometo nada. Eso sí, antes de que se cumpla el ciclo, depende de los deseos. ¿Tengo para tirar? ¿Tengo para tirar uno? Tiremos uno. Nuestro secreto de la hora del gachapón. Sí, digo, no esperaba mucho. Si de tiro en tiro, antes de que se cumplan los 20 días, no me sale un 5 estrellas, ya sea Yemiko, ya sea Mona, ya sea Chichi, lo estoy diciendo en voz alta porque esas son a las que quiero, ¿vale? Cualquiera está bien, ¿vale? Gracias. Si en esos 19 días no aparece ningún 5 estrellas, vamos a hacer lo de Yemiko, que lo más probable es que lo de Yemiko sea después del 22. Y antes de ese periodo de tiempo se cumpla los 19 días, hacemos los encuentros, los 4, para las protogemas. Y que forzar que me salga un 5 estrellas. Y ya, ahora sí, muchas gracias por acompañarme. Nos vemos. Adastra Visoske. Bye.